It was me, then Ellen.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Okay. So we're gonna get started with our service. First, I would like to ask who would like to light the Shabbat candles. I think we have a few options this evening, so I'll let you all decide.
Ellen, do you want to do it? No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Ellen. And for those watching online, if things either look or sound just a tad different tonight, it's because we have a new iPad that we're having to use. So.
Oops.
Okay.
Okay. I was so proud of myself. Let's try rotating it. Is that
Yeah.
better or worse?
Well, the vent is covered up, so I'm not sure.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be hard.
She's worth twice the mitzvah. That's all.
It's no wick. There's no wick at this point.
Right.
That's what's.
Quick.
Thank you, Devin.
One's going out. Yeah,
The other one went out.
The other one went out.
Good job.
Shalom.
How are you, Harry?
I'm all right.
Good. Did you see your mom
I visited her last August.
in August? How's she doing?
Far as I can tell, about the same as the year before.
Oh,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Yashkoach. Thank you, Ellen. Okay. As you may have all read and heard in my weekly email, tonight's service is going to be a little bit different than usual because we are commemorating Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht being the Night of Broken Glass, which happened over November 9th and 10th in 1938 and was kind of the catalyst of what started, everything else that happened in the Holocaust. So as a result, tonight we're going to be doing a lot of German Jewish music, which is also musically what kind of started the Ashkenazi musical traditions that we use in American synagogues today. Things are going to sound a little different than usual. It's maybe not going to be as congregational as we're used to, but there are going to be a number of tunes that you will recognize because we do use some of this still in today's time. When we do those tunes, listen very carefully because the parsing of the words are going to be also a little bit different than what we're used to. The two composers featured tonight are Louis Lewandowski and Solomon Zolzer. So without further ado, let's turn to page 101, and we're going to start with Matovu at the top of the page 101. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha Avo vetecha eshtachave el hechal kodshecha beiratecha beiratecha. And we'll turn back to page 11 and continue with Lechone Ranana, Psalm 95 at the top of the page. Lechune Ranana Ladonai, Nari Alitzur Ishenu, Nekadma Fanav Betoda, Bizmirot Nari Alo. Kiel Gadol Adonai, Umelech Gadol Al Kol Elohim, Asher Be'ado Mechere Haaretz, V'toafot Harim Lo. It is part of the German Jewish tradition that for Kabbalat Shabbat, they actually don't do as much as the rest of us do. They do Lechone Ranana, and then they go right to Lecha Dodi. There's a synagogue in Berlin called Pestalozzi Strasse. All the synagogues are named after the streets. And that synagogue in particular, which is the equivalent to the conservative synagogue, uses organ and choir and has a cantor. And they used to live stream. They don't anymore. But back during COVID, I would watch their services. And this is how I know what matbeya they're doing. So we're going to turn now to Lecha Dodi on page 23. The refrain is probably going to be familiar to you. It's one of the tunes that a lot of us know. However, the verses in between are done a little bit more chant style. So if you want to try to sing along, you can. But 23, we'll do the first two stanzas, the middle stanza 24, and then that final stanza on 25, and we'll rise as usual and face the back to welcome Shabbat. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, ushemo echad, leshem ultiferet veli techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nei lecha, Ki mekor haberacha merosh, mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'makshava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Middle of 24. Hitoreri, 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 kiva orech kumi ori. Uri, Uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nigala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise and face the entrance. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha, uvet צולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי כלה בואי כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. Yeah, I guess you all recognize that tune, don't you? Now that we've sung Lecha Dodi and we've started Shabbat, we'll continue now with Tzadi Katamar in the middle of page 28. This is the tune we normally do, which is of German Jewish origin, but again, listen carefully. This is one of those times where the parsing and the phrasing is going to be a little bit different than what we normally know. Page 28 in the middle. Tzadik katamar yivrach ke'erez balvanon yiske shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim vera'ananim yiu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tsuri velo avalatabo. We'll continue now with Psalm 93, page 29. Adonai malach geut lavesh Adonai oz hitazar avtikon tevel baltimot nachon kisacham meoz meolam ata Naseu nerot Adonai, Naseu nerot kolam, Iseu nerot dochiam, Mikolot mayim rabim, Adirim mishpereyam, Adir bamarom Adonai. Eidotecha nemenu meod, leveitecha nava kodesh. Eidotecha nemenu meod, leveitecha nava kodesh. Adonai leorech yamim. Okay, before we continue with Mariv, let's turn to page 178. We'll continue with the prayer for the state of Israel. Since the prayer for the state of Israel is a more modern prayer, there is no German Jewish tune for it. So in that case, we'll just read it in English this evening. Please join me on the top of the page. Avinu Shabashamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen. And I checked the news earlier, right before the service. There are still bodies of hostages that have yet to be returned. So we will continue with the prayer for those hostages. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, send complete return to the remaining hostages who have lost their lives while held in captivity since October 7th. Strengthen the spirit and resolve of their families who are waiting patiently to intern their loved ones with dignity. May you guide the hand of our enemies to return them speedily and without incident. Grant strength and courage to all of those involved in ensuring their graceful return and the disarmament of our enemies. Grant strength of spirit to all our brothers and sisters, the people of Israel, to remain united and strong in the face of ongoing hatred and bigotry, while potential peace in the region and an end to the war is imminent. Bring them home now, and let us say, Amen. We are now going to continue with praying for those who are ill, those who are in need of either physical or spiritual healing. I'd like to invite us to turn to page 173. Now, normally we do the Debbie Friedman Mishaberach, which again is not necessarily part of the German Jewish tradition. So instead of doing the Debbie Friedman, I would like to invite us to recite the words that are in the middle of the left-hand margin of 173 that says Moses' prayer. We'll recite them, then recite the names, then go around the room, and then we'll recite those words again. So please join me in the middle of that page. El na refa na lahem. God, please heal them. Leah bat Sarah, Yaakov Achana bat Rivka Simcha, Shena Rezel bat Sima, Moshe Alayla bat Yovel Sarah, Adam Chaim ben Sarah, Nisan ben Esther, Shoshana Lena bat Yochevet, Kira bat Ariel, Batcha bat Chana, Judith Siegel, Yehudit bat Ruth, Ernest Edinger, Yisrael ben Ita, Don Satz, David ben Leah, Melissa Lawrence, Shemira Cherut bat Sarah, Marie Han, Mira Tzipora bat Sarah, Glynis Ingal, Elisheva bat Chana, Thelma Edwards, Tama bat Golda, Jack Azuz, Yaakov ben Limid, Shirley Morrison, Sarah bat Gittel, Diane Chodorow, Rachel Langer, Jennifer Brown Lerner, Eva Kuris, Ken Gasser, Harvey Kolchin, Jennifer Hayden, Julia Damaro, Elva Pineda, Judy Pitkovsky, Nancy Levick, Killian Parker, Tanya Boberick, Marion Camerlingo, Terry Lukanik, Stephen Lukanik, Robert Lukanik, Patty Locks, Gary Guto, Kevin Robinson, Nancy Rummage, Lee Gershin, Lynn Sinowitz, Jennifer Rudin, Chessie Idenopoulos, Richard Brower, Francis Gilston, Doris Duhigg, Shelley Koffler, Amy Stone, and June Shadman.
Mira bat Yehudit.
Daniel Yeshaya ben Chava.
Caleb Bennis.
Thank you. And if there's anyone on Zoom online who would like to add a name, please go ahead and do so now.
Bruce Jordan, Burns X, Joshua Fine.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, please join me in the middle of the page, 173 on the left-hand margin. El na refa na lahem. God, please heal them. May they all find the healing that they so need and so deserve. With that, we'll turn back to page 39A, and we'll continue with the Mariv service, and we'll continue with the Baruch Hu at the top of the page. Please rise, page 39A, and also please note, again, the tune is going to be a little different. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Adonai Hamvorah, Laolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Amen.
You may be seated. Please join me on the English side, middle of page 39A. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tsebaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. ומבהיר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין הלילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוכנו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Page 40. אהבת עולם בית ישראל. 6 lines from the top. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה עם שוט ישמעאל. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohechem emet. Top of page 43a. Emet ve'emuna kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, ki hu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ein zulato, v'anachnu Yisrael amo. 4 lines from the bottom of the page on 43a. Hamavir banav ben gizarei amsuf et rodfeihem ve'etzonehem bitomot liba ve'ra'u vanav gevurato shibechu ve'hodu lishmo u'mahalchuto beratzon kibelu aleihem Moshe u'vnei Yisrael lachanu shira besimcha rabba v'yamru chulam. Michamocha, page 44. Michamocha bailim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef ele. מלכותך רעובנך, בוקי הים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל Yisrael. We'll continue now with Hashkivenu, the nighttime prayer for peace, page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim, uferos aleinu sukat shelomecha, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב, דבר וחרב ורעב, ויגון, והסר שטן מלפנינו, ומאחרינו, ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו מצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנון ורחום אתה, ושמור את צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Okay, please rise for Vishamru and Chatzi Kaddish on page 46. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. And we'll continue now with the private silent Amidah for Shabbat, which begins on page 47, concludes on page 52. If you are still reciting the Amidah, please continue. We'll now turn to page 54, and we'll continue with the full Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'almadi v'ra kirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chay d'chol beit Yisrael b'agalav izman karim v'immeru amen Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'le'ol me'almaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalei v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu Leila min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'immeru amen Titkabal tzalotahon v'atahon dechol Yisrael kadam avon divishmaya v'immeru amen Yehi sham rabba min shemaya v'chaim alin v'chol Yisrael v'immeru amen Ose shalom bimromav v'yase shalom alinu v'al kol Yisrael v'immeru amen We're going to continue with the Friday evening Kiddush on page 55. The version that we do normally is actually from this German Jewish tradition written by Louis Lewandowski. So once again, just listen carefully because the phrasing is going to be a little bit different, and then the ending is also slightly different than what we're accustomed to as well. So please rise, page 55. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
Amen.
L'chaim. And we'll continue with Aleinu, page 56. And the tune that we normally do for the beginning is written by Solomon Sulzer, so we will do that. We won't do the Shehunot Shemayim because that's the itsy bitsy spider, believe it or not. And at the end, the Ne'emar is three blind mice and the farmer in the dell. So we're not going to do that tonight either. But page 56, we'll do the beginning of Aleinu together and then privately from there onward. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teit gedula leotzer reshit shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'misharim u'rojim lifnei melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu Shem de Shemayim v'yosed haaretz u'mash b'dvar Shemayim ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. I decided to give it back to you a little bit at the end, so just to have a little something. We're now going to take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us. This Shabbat, we remember the yahrzeits for the upcoming week of Benjamin Marchik, Doris Shallett, Irene Lewis, Jenny Friedman, Ralph Malloy, Rose Nagin, Sam Pollock, and Seema Rothman. And if there's anyone else you are remembering this evening, please take a moment to remember them in your mind and in your heart. May their memory be for goodness and for a blessing. We'll continue with Mourner's Kaddish, page 58. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divara kirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Olameh Omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal Shemei Kudusha B'richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Mina Shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. You may be seated. In a few moments, we'll conclude with Adon Olam, but before then, I believe we have some announcements.
Yes, I remembered my notes this week. Okay, tomorrow is religious school Shabbat. Our religious school students will be taking a major role in tomorrow's services. We begin at the usual time, 9:30. The services will be available remotely on Zoom only, but we won't be live streaming. And the reason is to have a more controlled audience to preserve the privacy and security of our children. November 13th, Thursday evening, is going to be a New Mexico Jewish Storytelling Festival event here beginning at 6:30 p.m. The Jewish Storytelling Festival will go on through the weekend at Nachalat Shalom, but the first event, the Thursday evening event, will be here in our social hall. On Sunday, November 16th, will be the next meeting of our intergenerational program, Mor L'Dor Vador, and that's at 10:30 in the morning. November 17th is the final day for ordering Hanukkah cards as part of our Hanukkah card fundraiser. And if you go to the e-blast, I think there will be a link that you can click on in order to order your Hanukkah cards. This for a $36 donation. A card goes out to every member of the synagogue in your name. And November 23rd is our annual Men's Club Veterans Brunch. That's going to be at 10:30, and RSVP is requested. And again, I think that the e-blast contains a link for making a reservation, or of course, call the synagogue office. Our Shabbat Kiddush luncheon tomorrow after services is sponsored by David Bromberg in memory of his son, Evan Miles Bromberg. And of course, everyone is invited. And that's all I've got. Is there anything else that I've missed? And if not, thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Marty. And I want to thank everyone for partially indulging me in terms of doing this service tonight. I'm hoping that each year we can do something for Kristallnacht, and I'll be able to share these, differences in the music with you and everything like that. So with that said, we're going to conclude now with Adon Olam, which can be found on page 211. And this setting of Adon Olam is written by Solomon Sulzer. So page 211, it's pretty easy to catch on. So go ahead and try to sing along. Adon Olam asher malach beterem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa vechefso kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei ki kalot hakol levado imloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu ve'hu yeh betifara ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni להמשיל לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וסור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום מקרא בידו אבקיד רוחי בעת אישן בעירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have an oneg in the lobby, so please join us in the lobby, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Religious School Shabbat at 9:30. Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Good Shabbos.